first, fair, accurate from our newsrooms in Eugene, Roseburg, and Coos Bay. KVAL News starts now.
They said, you guys got to get out of here, and so we grabbed the kids and what pets we had and got out of there. It's just hard losing 50 years worth of stuff, but that's the way it goes.
A level 3 leave now evacuation is in effect east of Azalea for Upper Cow Creek to Snow Creek East in Douglas County. This means go immediately. Good evening, I'm David Walker. Oregon is under fire watch tonight. The Stouts fire in Douglas County is burning 6,000 acres at this hour. Hundreds of firefighters are battling the blaze 11 miles east of Canyonville, that's near the community of Milo. Our Sarah Madison is live tonight in Canyonville with the latest news on the fire. Sarah?
The fire has burned 6,000 acres and it's nowhere near being contained at this point. If you can see around me, the haze has lifted, but it's still very hot. It's 105 in Canyonville, and that's not good news for firefighters out in the field. We talked to fire officials from Oregon Department of Forestry and the Office of the State Fire Marshal, and we asked them what their plan of attack is today.
Paul Reese from ODF tells me the biggest concern is the hot weather. Officials say weather can help create a plume of smoke for the second day in a row. The first time it happened, the fire ballooned in size in a matter of hours.
And we had a plume-dominated fire. This plume was seen by most of western and southern Oregon, I believe. And late in the day, that plume collapsed. When that collapse happens, it spreads fire in all directions.
Earlier in the morning, firefighters were setting up camp. The State Fire Marshal's office was also mobilized for additional manpower and resources.
And State Fire Marshal's task forces are out in the field basically triaging and doing work to protect structure from that interface between the wildfire and the homes.
Now, the incident command post has been set up at Days Creek Charter School, and officials say staying organized is going to be key to containing this fire over the weekend. The fire is heading south, and officials are also warning residents to just be prepared to evacuate. There's also a informational meeting at the Azalea Community Church tomorrow at 6:30, and it's also important to note that Red Cross has set up a shelter at Canyonville Elementary School, but that shelter has moved to the YMCA in Canyonville. Reporting, I'm Sarah Madison. Back to you at the desk.
All right, important reminder then with the shelter that has been set up. KVAL's Kelly Anderson earlier today talked to some residents about the shelters that are there and has more on the evacuations.
As of early Friday afternoon, no evacuees had come by this shelter at Canyonville School. But just through these doors, crews are saying that they're ready to roll out the cots and provide assistance to anybody who needs it.
The people tend to be very resourceful and take care of themselves, and this is good. That's being prepared. But in the event that they don't have an alternative and don't have a place to go, the Red Cross is available to help.
The shelter, which started setting up yesterday afternoon, has enough resources to accommodate up to 100 people. But Roth says more can be brought in if necessary.
It's just in case. You never know what can happen.
About 20 miles away in Milo, residents have already started packing their bags just in case they get evacuated.
I wasn't too frightened. It kind of felt, because it's been around, we've had this before, so I wouldn't feel too worried.
Echeverria is one of about 35 students living at the Milo Adventist Academy through the summer. Administrators have a bus on standby just in case.
Inconvenience of the smoke for a little while, but not concerned about any immediate danger.
If you are evacuated and require assistance, you can find out more information about this shelter as well as others by getting on your smartphone and using the Red Cross mobile app. We'll also be posting that information for you on our website. In Canyonville, I'm Kelly Anderson reporting.
Well, thank you, Kelly. And again, as Sarah said, the evacuation center there at the YMCA, that's the place to go in Roseburg. Now, take a look at this. It shows just how quickly the Stouts fire took off yesterday. Crews were battling the Cable Creek fire. That's east of Glendale earlier in the day. But by 1 o'clock, the report came in about the Stouts fire. And just 3 hours later, the Stouts fire was 200 acres. Then by 8 o'clock last night, it was estimated at 6,000 acres. The Stouts fire fire remains about that size tonight. Well, here in Lane County, other fire problems. Crews responded to a brush fire near Lane Community College this afternoon. Firefighters continue to put out small hot spots in the area, but they say for the most part it is contained. A helicopter dropped water on the burning areas around LCC. As a precaution, Oak Hill School was evacuated. Public safety officers tell us no structures were in danger. There were no reports of injuries. Well, we'll turn to weather, and KVAL's chief meteorologist Al Peterson is in the Weather Center with a first look at the forecast.
Well, David, we have done it again. We have set records. Some of these records getting kind of scary, though. More heat records do tumble today. The great news, though, is we're going to cool down soon. Here's the temperatures we're looking at. Okay, so Eugene, we haven't quite got to 104 like yesterday, but 103 blew by the record. 106, Roseburg blew by the record. And this one, Medford, for the second day in a row, 109 degrees. Now, I know that people in Medford are used to hotter temperatures than the Umpqua Basin and the Willamette Valley in general, but man, 109, 2 days in a row. Where are we, Saudi Arabia? 98 degrees for tomorrow, though. Eugene cools down quite a lot tomorrow and quite a heck of a lot for Sunday and Monday. Back over to David.
All right, Al, thanks. Oregon's governor has taken action in response to the fire in the Stouts Creek area. Governor Kate Brown invoked the Emergency Conflagration Act yesterday. Now, that act can only be invoked when people or structures are in danger. Now, with the signing of the Conflagration Act, several fire stations in Lane County are mobilizing to help out on the blaze. Ellen Meny is live here in the studio with more about what those firefighters will be doing to help out. Ellen?
David, fire stations in Lane County each volunteer a small part of their crew for the task force, creating a mobile unit that can respond to a large and potentially very dangerous fire. Chief Chad Minter of Coburg Fire says that the Lane County Task Force Number 1 is made up of 6 different fire units, including Eugene Springfield. This includes 2 structural engines, 2 brush fire engines, a water tanker, and 16 people.
The way we do it, by taking a little resources from each district, we don't strip anybody, so we're still intact and still can respond to day-to-day calls.
Working on a task force can be a grueling job,
because most of them were up on a normal shift, just like most people yesterday. Got notified last night at 11:30 at night, so never got any sleep or little sleep, and then hit the road at 5:30 this morning and are probably working the lines right now.
Captain Cody Johnson of the Coburg Fire District was on a task force 2 years ago for the Douglas Complex fire. He and other members of the task force protected homes during the fire.
It was pretty tiring, but it was a good experience. We trained a lot for it, and it's nice to use our training and help the communities when they need it.
Now, Fire Chief Minter says that people living in high-risk fire areas should always have an evacuation plan and know what they want to take from their house when they leave. Live in the studio, Ellen Meny, KVAL News.
Well, with the prospects of lightning moving through the Oregon Cascades this weekend, it's all hands on deck for federal fire dispatchers. This is the NERV Center. It's the Interagency Regional Dispatch Center in Springfield, jointly run by the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and State Forestry. Ground crews and aircraft are sent out by veteran dispatchers. The managers say staffing has been boosted to 10 people on a 24/7 schedule.
Yes, it does. Stressful and busy. You should see these dispatchers when they're talking on the radio, have one phone in their ear and another one ringing in front of them. They're really good multitaskers.
Stafford tells us the agencies have raised their ability to respond to fires by pre-positioning aircraft, hand crews, and fire equipment in the neighboring BLM districts and the national forest areas. Well, hot weather and extreme fire danger has prompted new shutdowns in private and state-protected forest lands in Oregon. KVAL's Tom Adams joins us now to explain what it means for campers, hikers, and others in the outdoors.
Well, David, with the fire danger hitting extreme and conditions getting worse by the day, the forest managers are not wasting time. And if you have camping or hiking plans this weekend on state-protected lands or on the Willamette National Forest, just forget about a campfire. The sign outside the State Forestry Division says it all. Fire danger can't get any worse.
That's kind of where we're at, is we're at that all hands on deck situation.
State fire crews for the South Cascade District are getting ready for anything, testing all the systems.
Depending on the morning, we'll go over our pumps and our saws.
That includes the weather report for the firefighters.
Excessive heat warnings are in place for the lowlands with temperatures exceeding 100 degrees.
And if you have camping plans the next few weeks, you can forget the campfire.
Now prohibiting campfires or any open fires whatsoever, even if they are inside of a campground.
It's all a part of new state restrictions on people using the forest lands. Now there's also a new Level 4 industrial order. It's a total shutdown for blasting, mining, and logging on state-protected lands. Wagenblast says the South Willamette Valley is just as tinder dry as Douglas County. And if a Stouts fire situation were to happen, like the one in Milo, he expects it would spread just as quickly.
We're already seeing that activity now, and it's only July. So, really it's further until we get the fall rains. We need people to pay attention to their fire safety.
And David, we just got word late this afternoon the Willamette National Forest is banning campfires in all their campgrounds as of midnight tonight, no exceptions. In the studio, Tom Adams, KVAL News.
All right, Tom, thanks. Coming up on KVAL News, we'll take a look at park closures around Lane County prompted by the fire danger, what you need to know headed into the weekend.